What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the After Effect Podcast. I'm your host, Lebron Stephen, but you can call me LBZ, L Boogie, Big Brian, B Brian, LB, Barani, whatever you choose. Welcome to episode 53. We have a very special guest. Armon Jones is on the show today. I believe he is a Milwaukee, Wisconsin native, but he grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, where he was a mainstay in basketball. He attended preparatory school first, I believe Cherish Prep in North Carolina. From there, he went to the University of Liberty in Virginia, where he was a power forward. Then he transferred from there to Clayton State, which is in Georgia as well. Now he is an entrepreneur in the Atlanta area, has his hands in several different things. We used to work together in our early 20s as fresh college graduates. So super uber excited for him to jump on. I just sent him the link, and once he jumps on, we will go in.
A guy who came from Cleveland.
Okay, what? You ain't from Cleveland, no.
Cleveland was the best location in the nation.
You know, we from Cleveland, Ohio.
Glenville community on the east side of Cleveland.
Cleveland was called the best location in the nation.
Yeah, I can hear you. What's good with you, bro?
What's going on, man?
Hey, I can't call it. Hey, I appreciate you jumping on, man. So yeah, I think I told you this is called the After Effects Show. It's just a free and safe space for us former athletes and some current athletes to come on and just talk about our athletic experience, kind of relive our athletic journey a little bit. I think inspiring our stories, and then kind of talk about like just that transition out, man. I feel like that transition out is always lost in translation. We got a 20+ year relationship with, for me, football, with you, basketball. That when it's all over, we just supposed to, like, you know what I mean, transition to something different and inspiring our story. So that's the ethos of the podcast, man.
All right, that'll work.
Yes, sir.
So I'm gonna just go with you and just narrate, or you just want to ask me specific questions?
Oh no, yeah. I got questions. So before I go into your childhood, and all that, I love talking like current events. So I'll ask you just two current events. You know the NBA the NBA playoffs, and we've had several talks about the playoffs. I see you got the Lakers hat on, so the playoffs are starting soon. So who you got winning the NBA championship this year?
This year, I still got the Lakers. You already know. I got the Lakers.
What you think about how they navigated through the season with AD just coming back after being out 2 months? Bronny taking his time. I feel like he could have came back and played, but he kind of taking his time right now. So what's your take on that?
First I want to say them picking up Andre Drummond was smart because they need that size. They need to. I would imagine the game strategy that they would go with would be kind of like that big ball game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it seems like their biggest opponent is going to be the Nets, right? And the Clippers. So Clippers got a lot of small ball game. Don't really have a good interior players. So with AD not really wanting to play center like that, them throwing in Drummond, who can get you 15 rebounds.
Exactly.
Good 15.
20 and 20, 15 and 15. Yeah.
Exactly. So now you open up, you let AD be able to stay away from the center position because that's what he don't like. He don't want to be touched like that. But he knows how to use his size against the fours and the threes. And then you let LeBron really facilitate that. LeBron ain't really had a lot of big men with good hands that can catch the oop, that can catch the drop down. So now Bron comes back. It's going to take a couple games to get some chemistry going, but
you know that.
I mean, I think the Lakers in a good place. I mean, fifth place without 2 stars is a good look.
That's what I'm saying. Hey, I totally agree. I definitely agree with you on that. I mean, I think Bron should come back in about a week because like 4 to 5 games for him to find for them to find their chemistry. I'm not sure if that's enough. I would rather see like kind of 8 or 9, you know what I mean, before the playoffs start. But as we know, Bronny been in the playoffs 10, 11 straight years, so he gonna figure it out. Either way.
Either way, and that's what Bron is able to dominate on that long level, is because it's more mental with him. I mean, he got the size, the body ain't slowed down all the way, but I mean, all the young players coming into the league today, I don't really see them using their brains like that. So it's like all the older players, the Kobe, the KGs, that generation that was a little more smart, he doesn't have to play against that no more. So now all he has to do is just learn how to, kill these guys with a game plan.
Right.
I see another chip
totally
coming.
agree.
And I feel like if he gets the chip this year, against
it's no arguing with him. Yeah, right.
I'm not arguing the GOAT argument no more. We're not talking about it. That's 5 rings, 3 different organizations. You know what I'm saying? And arguably 2 rings against the 2 best players and 2 best NBA teams in history. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to talk about it no more.
Right, and we've had several conversations about basketball, but I still don't even see why they compare Michael to LeBron. They got 2 different games. They got 2 different games. Bron is way more is a much better overall player than Michael Jordan. Of course, we all know Michael Jordan is a better scorer. But like you said, if Bron get the championship this year, and my thing is, if you really a hooper or know basketball, the Nets, it's not going to be easy to even get out the East. It's not going to be easy to beat the Sixers and the Bucks. That's not going to be easy.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like the problem is that we don't appreciate stuff until it ain't there no more. And it's like you can't appreciate greatness while it's in front of you. It's like, yeah, he has a different mindset than Mike. Mike was a scorer. Bron's a facilitator. But Bron that's even what makes Bron so cold. It's like he ain't even looking to score, and he's still getting you 30 on 17 attempts. I mean, he ain't taking no shots away from nobody else, and he's still efficient. So it's like, to me, yeah, it's not what we like to see in basketball. A lot of people like to see in basketball is run up the scoreboard and take over. That's all the things you've been about watching movies and whatever. But it's like, bro, the real win is the fact that Bron is a winner, bro. Everybody like he losing the finals. I'm like, bro, if the worst a man can do is lose in the NBA finals every year,
right? You want that every time, right?
Like, yeah, I mean, Jordan definitely got a better finals record, has put up more points, but also too, that's what he looked to do every night. And people always forget that, the day that, when Jordan sat out that year, the Bulls damn near went back to the finals without him. So it's like, is it or is it system and you got Scotty? You got to keep Scotty on the
exactly. You know and Phil Jackson had them boys hooping that year. I remember that year.
Exactly. So Bron had a couple teams where they was some scrubs. You know what I'm saying? Like that first team, and then that team that he took without Kyrie and Kevin Love. Well, he had Kevin Love, he had Kyrie. They was trash too. So I'm just like, y'all.
And that finals, even though he lost, he averaged like 42. Like he averaged like 42, 12, and 9 in that finals.
That first finals they went to where Kyrie and K-Love got hurt the first year, Bron scored like 100 points in like a week. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying, man. People like you said, I just feel like people don't give Bron his just due. Now, some people that really know basketball, they do, but still, I just feel like the hate is real for Bron, man. One more current event question. Obviously, 2020 was the weirdest year to date, man. Since me and you have been alive on this earth, we never walked through a coronavirus pandemic. The world has never shut down. Even though we're almost mid-year 2021, how did you have to grow in 2020 just with all those different factors with the world shutting down? People losing their jobs. People, you got to kind of just like figure life out, figure out how to pivot. What were some things that stood out to you? That changed as far as how you move now, how you see the world.
I guess when it comes to like how I view everything is like whatever your mentality and the energy you put out is what you're going to attract, no matter what's going around you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? The reality that you perceive is based on your consciousness. So it's like me, I actually saw a lot of growth in 2020 as far as like, it's kind of like you see what you want to see. So it's like if you want to see people losing their jobs and you pay attention to the negatives, then yeah, that's gonna stand out to you. But I saw a lot of people become millionaires this year. I saw a lot of cats, have been grinding and doing their thing for a long time, really break through. And it was a lot of money made in e-commerce this year, and definitely a lot of money made in platforms like Toro and Airbnb. You know what I mean? So this really, to me, it really like showed people like who had that mindset, like, yo, it's time to get it, because it's people spending money, but still, to me, a lot of money being spent because people were in the house, so they were spending money in different ways. You know what I mean? Spending money over the internet. Amazon, all these big companies, you can't tell it was a pandemic for them. They got, record best numbers.
Exactly.
You got a new billion. I mean, oh boy had a divorce, lost half his money and made back all that and more. So it's like,
all right, that's facts.
People eating, it just all depends on, definitely I saw the other things, the effects that it has on us socially. It's never going to really be a new normal, especially with, definitely going to go back to what it was. But like I said, man, like Lamborghini sold more Lamborghinis this year than any other year in the history of the company. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So money spent, somebody was getting to the bread. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
A lot of people opening eyes to cryptocurrencies and market it and learning how to use the market, learning how to invest in the market. These are things that are like subjects that, at least in our community of color, you know what I mean? Like definitely people weren't open to knowing about it. Now it's like people have used that strategy to, take some of them same markets that we weren't in, and now, we dominated them and getting money in them. So I think it's a good look.
Yeah, definitely, man. I can attest to all that. For me, it was just pretty much the same, man. Just trying to thumb through more books, like you said, understand cryptocurrency and stocks more. I put a little bit more money in the stocks than what I had before cryptocurrency. I've been studying on e-commerce for like over a year now. I got a super dope idea that I'm probably gonna launch like this summer for athleisure brand. Since, as you know me, I'm always in the gym working out. So yeah, man, just like you said, just this elevation, man. 2020, it was so weird. We had to pivot in so many ways, man. So I appreciate your honest candor on that, man. So we could dive into your childhood, bro. So, because I know we've talked several times. So did you grow up in Atlanta or were you born in Milwaukee? Because I know you said you spent some time there too.
Yeah, man. I actually didn't move to Atlanta until like end of middle school, 8th grade, man. Like second half. I spent the majority of my childhood in Milwaukee.
Okay. Well, what was the culture? What was it? Just give me an inside look, because obviously I grew up in Cleveland, but I always hear things like the inner city of Milwaukee is pretty similar to your Cleveland, Detroit, St. Louis, things of that nature. So give me an inside look on what that was like growing up in the 90s, the culture there, before you moved to Atlanta.
What's funny is I always tell people I'm from Milwaukee, they always think it's like a bunch of, cheese, and they always think about like Green Bay.
They think about Green Bay.
Yeah, it's like a lot of white folks, and I'm like, yeah, I guess it depends on where you live at in the city. But the city is like a lot of those major industrial cities that a lot of our people moved to back in the day. It's like those cities are very segregated. You know what I'm saying? It's so, like I lived in Milwaukee, man. I didn't go to school with white kids. I didn't really see white people unless they was teachers or police. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
same here.
It's a different, and people always have these different conceptions, but I'm just like, man, it's just like Chicago. It's a different kind of level of intelligence when it comes to respect towards each other, and it's a lot of ignorant things that I grew up on in the 90s that I saw. A lot of gang culture, vice lords really taking up. And I'm be honest, like I wasn't raised in that way. I was in the midst of it, but I wasn't of it. You know what I'm saying? Because my Deuce just wasn't. She didn't raise me that way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
my parents the same way. Yeah.
It was like a breath of fresh air. You know what I'm saying? Like I stayed in College Park for a little bit, but then we ended up moving out to Cobb County, which is like Powder Springs, McEachern. It's got its own little culture. It's a lot more integrated area. And it's funny because I was going to high school with kids that was coming from good situations, and they didn't see it because I guess that's all they knew. Especially, you know what I'm saying, look like me. So it was like kids was aggressive and cats was like wanting to be hood, and I'm like, bro, that's not what you want.
Right. That's not even you. You're not even cut like that.
And like, oh, neighborhood is straight. You know, you come from a 2-parent household. You know, it's got a cul-de-sac in neighborhood. We playing ball outside. We ain't got to worry about nobody taking nothing from us or, you know what I'm saying, come up. So it's like these cats was really, you know, I guess they kind of took my kindness for weakness because I was just like, I didn't believe the hype. So even when they was trying to be hood around me, it was like I just didn't say nothing because I just was like, man, I'm just looking at it from a more adult perspective. Like, oh, y'all really front now. But
right.
Other than,
oh yeah, we know what that looked like.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like Cassius be trying to get me to get into fights and different stuff like that, and I just wasn't up on it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm used to having to fight for a reason, like not disagreeing. It's like, all right, man, whatever. You know what I mean? Because where I'm from, it's like you don't start them kind of arguments because you don't know who you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Let's take the sneakers off my feet. I ain't really trying to fight. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to get right.
Yeah, that's facts. So man, talk about like when you started to come into your own at basketball. I always feel like any D1 athlete, football, basketball, you always know like when that light switch hit on. For me, it was like 10th grade when you start getting all those letters in the mail. Those scholarship offers started to come. You started to get recruited really heavily. All the local accolades and awards start to come. Like you hit that growth spurt, you get stronger in the weight room. So like, when was that for you in high school when that light switch hit on? And then the recruitment started. You start hearing from schools and things like that.
I'm gonna keep it real with you, Brian. You know, like you always. I watch your show, and you got some dudes that are really accomplished a lot on your show, and it's different. It's different ranges of success in sports, and I feel like I'm kind of the opposite of that. You know what I'm saying? Like I like to just keep it real. And I think it's a lot of people who take the route that I took it. And just being honest, man, I grew up and a lot of stuff just playing in the neighborhood, bro, just being a part of like the neighborhood and what's going on. I wasn't really big on school sports until late. And, you know what I'm saying? I think my junior year, I grew to about 6'7" and a half. And it was like at that point, I didn't have a choice. It was like, it made for me to play sports. And I had people who pushed me into playing basketball and stuff early, but what it was I hadn't developed the mindset of a work ethic. You know what I mean? So like when Cass was lifting weights in high school, I wasn't thinking about that. And just being being real, I played for the love of the game.
Yeah, that's real.
I was just content with playing in the neighborhood, and then somebody was just like, man, you got the size to really play, and you need to do something with that. So, you know, my high school tenure was really just, I was really like learning the game. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't really good at the game like that. It wasn't until after my senior year.
We went to prep school.
I went to prep school, and what it was is my mom sat down with me and she just told me straight up, you know what I mean? Like, even though we were doing better, you know, it's still a single parent household. It ain't no money for college. You know what I'm saying? Just keeping it fun.
Yeah.
Smart, but I wasn't applying myself in the classroom the best way I could, right? So it was like, I don't got no money for you to go to school. You know what I mean? And that was a very surreal moment. You know what I mean? Like, damn, I don't want to be a burden to my mama, but shit, I'm about to be grown. I need to figure out what I'm going to do. So I went to prep, and she made a deal with me. She's like, look, I'll pay for this prep school thing, and you got to promise me you get a scholarship. I'm like, all right, cool. So I changed my mindset towards the game, and I went to a cut where it was like, when I was playing against people where I felt like I had to do what I had to do. You know, I knew what it was costing my mama, and I knew she didn't have it like that. You know what I mean? So that's always been what it is. It's like, even like I ain't have none of the best stuff when we was in high school just because we just didn't have it like that. Now, I feel like people may have thought we did, but we just didn't have it like that. So it was like, when I went to college, that was just all off the strength of just finesse and going hard, man. You know what I mean? That 1 year in prep school, I played with a good team. I played with a lot of good players, and we just had some opportunities, and I didn't have to do a lot to get the looks that I needed to get to go D1. You know what I mean? So I took advantage of that opportunity to get that free education. So really, to keep it funky, like the first couple offers I got, I really entertained them. And when I went somewhere and I saw it was nice and it was decent, And, you know, they was like, yeah, we're going to take care of you this, and that way. I'm like, all right, well, this is what I'm going to do. You know, I never really went into it like, oh, I'm going to the NBA. I had already been around cats in prep school that went to the NBA. Like, I played against Oak Hill, Mike Beasley. You know what I'm saying? Like, we knew that. I knew the difference. I knew I wasn't going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You knew the difference.
I'm looking at freaks. Like, these guys is made for the, you know, it's different. So it's like, I used it as a hustle, man. I used it to hustle to get by and get into school for free. I wasn't no star. I wasn't I could play the game, but I wasn't a big light kind of guy. You know what I mean? So I just had to finesse, get in school and do what I had to do.
I love hearing your prep school route, man, because I feel like a lot of fans or people that just watch the game, they don't really know the inner workings or the inner metrics of that prep school route. So while you was in prep school, who would you say was the best player or the best team you played against in prep school? Was it Oak Hill or was it somebody better?
Oak Hill. We played this team called Laurenburg Prep. They had a couple of dudes that people probably never heard of because they had school issues, but they was raw though. It was just different.
It was nice.
Like, like around that time, you know what I mean, 05, 06, 06, 07. It was like around that time where you start to really see the big players playing guard. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? Me being 6'8", it was like I was playing against. So when I was in prep, and even in some of college, you know, with my job, I felt like I was more like a rod man. You know what I mean? I just came in and did what my role was. You know what I mean? And I played hard. I cleaned up. You know what I mean? If I was more athletic, I might have had a rod man. You know what I mean? But it was just like I had been around cats that Mike Beasley, Ty Lawson, all of these cats that were on the big time schools. They was big time players. You know what I mean?
They was dogs.
Yeah, like me and Mike was the same time. He was actually a year younger than me at the time. And I'm looking at him like, this cat's 6'7", 6'8". He doing everything with the left hand. He can shoot, dribble, do. It just puts it puts things in perspective. I think we all ego is like, yeah, I want to go to the NBA. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. And then it's something like sometimes you got to be real and be like, you know what? That's not realistic. You know what I'm saying? Like if I if I learned a little earlier, maybe real, but I'm looking at it like, yeah, those dudes was definitely built for the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like you could tell.
Real freak.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then I went.
So, man, what went into your decision during the recruiting process to choose the University of Liberty?
Say that one more time.
I said, what went into your decision during the recruiting process to choose the University of Liberty when you started going there to play there?
I went to a couple schools, man. So my range that I saw was I was gonna be a mid-major player. So it was like, all right. I had some offers from like Radford, Liberty. The biggest look I had on the table was a look from Purdue, but that was based on someone else not taking the scholarship.
Okay.
When I went again, like I went to the school, I saw what it was. The reason why I chose Liberty, I didn't know that the culture of the school would be so. It was very political. It was a very like conservative school, and it was a lot of place, you know, that they were trying to implant. That I respect. I don't have nothing bad to say about it because it was definitely a positive environment. But it was a little more strict than I thought it was gonna be. But man, they had everything we needed. Man, they had a nice dome to play in. They had the gear. You know what I'm saying? Like they was, you know, man. I'm be honest. Like nobody ever showed me that side of the game. So when I was there, and I'm like, damn. Everything is new. Everything paid for. Oh, the food free. Oh, okay, yeah, sign me up. You know what I'm saying? Right. We don't leave no money on the table, so it's like, yeah. And then I was trying to sign quick too because the longer I took to sign, the more months I had to stay in prep school. Now I think it was costing my mama like $500-600 a month, and she just didn't have that break. So I was like, really, whoever showed me the best deal, I really took it off the rip. I really didn't.
That makes sense.
That option like I could have, but I mean, everything happened for a reason and played out the way it did.
Definitely, man. So, what was that transition like going from prep school to University of Liberty? Because I'm sure prep school was probably already infrastructure like college anyway. So what was that transition from the prep school to Liberty like?
I think the dopest thing about that transition to prep school was I was already playing with players that came from all over the country. So I was already playing. I had already kind of stepped into a situation similar to how college is when you get a bunch of different guys from a bunch of different areas and you guys are trying to work on one game plan. The only difference is prep school, we have a team goal, but it's really a lot of individual goals. Everybody's trying to get the scholarship.
Everybody trying to get that biggest scholarship, yeah.
Exactly. So when I got to Liberty, and at prep school, we was all around the same age. When I got to Liberty, I think it was the first time that, and I think this for any college freshman, when you get somewhere and you got guys on the team that you really look up to because they're so much older than you. It's the first time you feel like, usually like even in high school, we on the same team, play varsity, play JV, you playing with the same kind of age group of the guys you're coming in. This is the first time I'm coming in at 17, 18 years old, and the dude on the team that's 22, 21 years old. So it's like, even though as an adult, that gap isn't a lot. As a teenager, that gap is crazy. It's like you talking. He done already been through the motions. He really not only is he, but it's kind of like a big brother situation where it's like you really feeling like you can learn from the people around you, rather than in high school. It's mainly like you got a couple players that's better, but even then the IQs and your understanding of the game is pretty much the same.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense, man. So. Talk about any moments that stood out to you while you were at Liberty before you transferred to Clayton State.
So, yeah, so we had a coach change at Liberty. And, I don't like to talk negative about nobody, but we weren't on the same. I didn't like the way the new coach interacted with our teammates. You know what I mean? And there was a lot of, so when he came in, he had already come in with people we had recruited. Right, and we had saw that they had recruited more spots than they did have scholarships open. So I saw players, you know what I mean, like that first year I played for him, it was my sophomore year I played for him. But I saw players that had been brought in that he had kind of got rid of. And I mean, originally from what I was talking to him, it wasn't like he was coming from my scholarship, you know what I mean? But I kind of saw how we had a couple small instances with other players where he would use a small instance to use it as something major and take their whole scholarship. And I'm just like, damn.
Okay.
It was really the first time I looked at this at the basketball and the college thing, like it's a business. You know what I'm saying?
It's definitely a business, yeah.
It's a commodity. And until the better commodity comes, you know what I'm saying, that is what it is. Like at any time, if you're not producing or you're not producing value, that is, you're gone. So it's like, I had to see it for what it was, but also I just didn't like the fact that my thing is if you're going to be cutthroat and you want to do what's best for the team, I cannot hate that. If the players are better, I cannot hate that. But don't use God in there and try to use God as this and that. I felt like the coaching at the time was very much critical of my lifestyle, and my lifestyle didn't really match at the time with what the Christian values was at the school. Again, young, you know what I'm saying? I'm finding myself, so it's like, but I feel like they was using that against me, and they just against me, a couple of teammates, and it was like, all right, well, fine, you know what I mean? I'm not really trying, like I said again, I'm not trying to go to the NBA, no matter where I go to school, as long as I get an education. So I was like, bro, I'm not gonna be where I'm uncomfortable, you know what I mean? Like, and I felt uncomfortable. I felt like the stepchild, you know what I mean? Like, I felt like there was teammates I had, Liberty is super Christian, super conservative. I had teammates getting married, you know what I'm saying? Like marrying their girlfriends.
Damn, that young, huh?
Yeah, because the influences that was coming from up top. And it's like,
nah, see, I never knew Liberty was a Christian school. I never knew that.
Oh, man. It's crazy because they got a lot going for the school, so much to do. And I really I still think it's a positive environment. Like, don't get me wrong. It definitely strengthened my relationship with God, but it was also a very judgmental environment too. You know what I mean? So it's like, being in a judgmental environment, and then on top of that, everybody, you don't really look like the people you going to school with. It was just a good fit for me. I felt more comfortable at Clayton State because it felt like more like it catered to who I was. You know what I mean?
Of course. Yeah.
So, but again, I have no negatives to say about it. The program's doing great. He's the same coach that's there now. So he's doing what he said he was gonna come and do. So I like
okay.
see them
That's what's
prosper.
up. Yeah, that's what's up.
But
So when you transferred to Clayton State, did you feel like you took a step back? Did you get discouraged at all, or more, or you were more happy? You were more so happy, like you said, to be in a more comfortable environment that kind of spoke your language.
I will say this: when you're young, that whole thing about I'm going D1 and D1 and D2 and all of that, I think that's just it's an ego thing of being young and being ignorant to collegiate sports. Because
Mm-hmm.
when I went there, my first mindset was like, yeah, it's Division II. So I'm like, okay, it is a step back, right? But then once we start to play, and I realized that it was a lot of Division I transfers, a lot of guys that came here because of how things was going in their personal life and their school life. I realized, like, on the level, if you just wanted to be real, like, I was still playing with the same level of competition. And the only difference was at Liberty, we had a chance to play against high major schools, which really on that level of all collegiate levels, how I would compare things is it's really skill levels, not too much different. It's just the speed of the game and the athleticism of the players. So
yeah, that makes sense.
So it's like, man, I enjoyed Clayton State because at Liberty we weren't contenders. So we were trying to find a way, and he eventually, like I said, he built a program. But at the time, we just weren't. We weren't winners, and we didn't expect to win. You know what I mean? And that's a culture and an energy all of itself being on certain teams like that. So it's like at Clayton State, I took a step down Division II, but we was really playing in the ACC, a Division II basketball. We was playing in the best division of Division II basketball. So I still was around cats that could hoop. It was competitive. Clayton State was a winning team. So we win. You know what I'm saying? We was pre-ranked going into the season. It just felt different. It felt like it was more to play for. And it felt like different it's a different culture. It was the culture there. The coach talked to us like, yo, we trying to win the championship. We trying to win the region. We trying to get to this and that.
Trying to play winning basketball.
Exactly. Like so it's easier to be bought in. So when I went into Clayton State, I kind of really bought into my role. You know what I'm saying? Like I was playing more, starting and all that. So it was like I just felt like, okay, I wanted to win. We got a chance to win. So what can I do to win? At Liberty, it just kind of felt like I'm here to play basketball. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense, man. So, I just a few more questions. Did you aspire to maybe try to look at an overseas opportunity, or you just knew you just wanted your education, you wanted your bachelor's degree, and you were cool with transitioning into the real world?
So when I left Clayton State, I actually tore my meniscus my senior year, and I tore it my junior year. I played on half of it my senior year, and it just frustrated my game, and I wasn't able to heal. Because I didn't get the surgery until like 2 months before season started, and my coach was it's a business, right? He was adamant, like, play. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like, oh, coach, let me red shirt, you know what I'm saying, and let me heal up. It was, I need you to play. You know what I mean? Again, it's a business.
Okay.
So when I left,
you rushed your recovery. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Like my recovery wasn't the same. It was frustrating. So when I actually finished playing ball in college, it was weird because that last couple months of the season I didn't play. I left the team, and I ended up healing up and getting my body right and getting in shape. And this is around the time too I started to really buy into working out and all of that. I became more obsessed because my degree was in nutrition, so I started to pay attention to like how I looked and my my ability, my all of that. So
your food intake and all that stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. So when I left Clayton State, it was like based on my size and my physique at the time, I was getting looks to play overseas, even though I didn't have the numbers. You know what I'm saying? But I just looked the part. So people was giving me opportunities that I would say I had teammates that probably deserved those opportunities more than I did. But I went to go try to play enlistment and I actually broke my hip. I broke my hip. It was really
why you were out there?
Yeah, no, actually, I went to a Nike tournament. They had an AC3 Nike tournament here, like a hip hop AC3, and Nike had like a little tournament outside. And I was trying to enlistment. I had a teammate that was enlistment, and he was setting me up, and I had been talking to people, so it was like, okay, cool, this is what I'm gonna do.
It was almost in the works. Yeah.
It was in the works, and I actually broke my hip popped out the socket, man. The floor broke at the tournament, and I did the split, and it dislocated my hip. So, you know what I mean? After that,
yeah, that kind of injury, yeah, it's hard to come back from.
Yeah, it's a different kind of injury. You know what I mean? Like you just, and then on top of that, just change your body change. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, your body just feel different after that, man. I tore my pec. I tore my pec my senior year of college, man, and I still feel the aches of that now. Now that I'm in my 30s, man. So let me ask you two more questions, bro. Talk about, man, the day you knew that like you was done with hoop, like you was gonna transition, man. Was that a good day? Was it a bad day? I mean, for me, because I could only vouch for my experience. You know what I'm saying? It was a bad day. It was a bad transition for me. It took me months to I felt like I underachieved, you know, just being real and honest and transparent. 20-year relationship, you know what I'm saying? Like checked off everything, all the awards, all the accolades, and that's why I love your story, because your story was a bit different from mine. But my shit was pretty seamless. All the awards, all the accolades, all the offers, Big Ten, starter, all these things, man. But to never get to that highest level, and you know that's the goal. You know it was a hard pill to swallow. And like you say, I don't know if it was maybe it was some ego because I had done so many things, and I just thought that I was going to make it. But the fact that I never got the opportunity, it was a hard transition for me. So was that hard for you? Was it seamless? Did you already know that you really wasn't? Because I know you was thinking about going overseas. So was it easy? Like, just talk about it a little bit.
Man, I'm gonna be honest, man. Like, yeah, from the start of college, I was just kind of like, I was more of a college student than I was a collegiate athlete. Maybe that one year at Clayton, my junior year, we had a good team, and we had a lot of transfers from big schools. So we had a good team, and we had a shot to really go far, and I was really bought in. But like I said, man, in high school, man, I was chilling so much. I wasn't really into nothing. That when I got to college, I kind of wilded out. So it was like,
that's real. That's real.
It's real. You know what I'm saying? I just like to keep it funky. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
So I kind of stepped away from the idea of seeing a future behind anything athletic as far as that. And also, too, man, like, I love basketball, but I analyze it from not from a user standpoint, but an overseer. It's like I could piece the game. I think my seed will be able to take the size and strength that I have and do a lot more with the game than I ever was, because there'll be somebody there to teach them the game. I learned all of that later. So I fell in love with the game at a later age. So I really fell in love with the game, like how we can sit down and talk about Bron and the overall strategy of the teams and different stuff like that. I love that side about it. It's like, as far as being a player, I didn't go through a whole lot of a mental stress that, damn, I ain't gonna make it. I was already thinking 10 steps ahead of that. Like, damn, that was probably like getting it like that.
Yeah, I got you. And you definitely have a basketball mind. Like you said, more of an overseer mind. I think that's why we used to vibe off basketball so much too, because obviously football was my main sport, but you know, I hooped for like 10 years as well. So like I feel like I knew the game pretty well too, and I feel like that's why we used to always vibe talking hooping. You know what I'm saying? We can still do that to this day, man. But yeah, I love the honesty, man, because that's why I love getting different dudes on here, because everybody's story is so different. So it's dope that how you fell in love with basketball later, and you took your prep school route and all those things, and you were kind of ready. It sounds like to me you already kind of knew, you know, what you wanted to do. You know, outside of that, you kind of used basketball as a vehicle, if you will.
Exactly.
Definitely, man. So last question: what would you say is Armon Jones' after effect, you know, of your entire athletic career? What were some lessons that you learned, you know, that basketball taught you, that your education at Liberty, your education at Clayton State taught you, that you would use, that you still use to this day in your entrepreneurship endeavors, and also that you would take and ingratiate, you know, to your future family, you know, as we really just try to push this culture forward, push our culture forward?
Man, I think what I learned from Clayton, going to school at Clayton, is that I really learned that the sports game it's a business, man. And I guess that just also touched what I think also I took from sports is like what your mentality is, your confidence level, is very important to your success in anything, because I would say, looking back on it now, I guess I could joke on it and say, yeah, I knew I wasn't going to die out. But in the moment, you know what I mean? If I had a young person that was trying to do something, I would tell them, like, that's not the right mindset to have. Because, you know what I mean? Like, so much of collegiate sports is your confidence. It's your game. I know plenty of cats that can hoop, but when the lights come on, it's just like, man, they don't put it together.
Right.
But
right.
he ain't that good, but they think they're that good. So when the lights come on, they perform well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a mental thing. It's like, what I would take from it is whatever you have mentality wise is going to really push what you want to do, whatever your outcome is. If you think you're going to be great and you're ready to manifest those things, and you ready to put the behind it too. That was another thing in college. I didn't start lifting weights and all of that till I was like damn near 22, 23 years old. Like, I wasn't really a weightlifter. I didn't know what my body could do until I was a better athlete post-college than I ever was in college, which was weird.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
It's like, that's what a lot of the games, like, we don't learn that, is that you got to put the work in. You want to be great, you got to put the work in. As I look at it now, I'm like, damn, I had access to a gym. I had access to all the stuff that I paid for, and I was like, damn, I took for granted when I was in college. But that's because my mindset at the time, it wasn't thinking like that. So now when I look back on it, like, all I can think about now is have the right mentality to know what you really want, and then do what you need to do to go ahead and manifest those things. Because I apply that now as an adult. Like, okay, if I want to do it, I know I got to apply the work. I know I got to invest. I have to apply the research. But as a young man, I feel like sometimes you just allow everything to just come to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's cool with you. You know, you build like Bron, and you know what I'm saying? You 7'1", you know what I'm saying? But if you my height and you want to play the 4 in the league, you want to be the next Marquise Morris or PJ Tucker, nigga, you got to really buckle down and be, you know what I'm saying, put your mind to something and figure weak spots is and what you can add to the game to be great.
Yeah, that's facts, man. I think that's a great after effect, bro. And so that's all I had, man. Something I've been trying to pride myself on. 2020, 2021, I think it was a weird year. We've seen so many people pass. I've just been trying to pride myself on giving all my boys and all my friends and their flowers while they're still here, man. I feel like I've built so many relationships over these 20 years of sports, man. So I want to tell you, face up, man to man, eyes to eyes, man. Super proud of everything you've done, everything you're doing. Keep going, man. Keep, you know what I'm saying, representing for our culture, man. And I'm excited to get together this summer and do like a live, you know what I'm saying, a roundtable. I actually ran into James yesterday. So I'm just kind of planting that seed. I want to get both of y'all together because I love y'all stories. You know, he's an architect now, but y'all played together at Clayton State, man. So I want to do something live in person, possibly this summer, man. But I just want to show you that love and give you flowers, man, while we both still here.
I appreciate it, bro. You already know I'm supporting you in every way, bro. I've been watching you do your thing and really step into your confidence. So it's a good look, bro.
Try to get comfortable, man. You already know it's a process.
Yeah. I appreciate you for having me, bro.
Oh yeah. Appreciate you too, man. So yeah, we'll be in touch, bro.
Definitely.
All right, bro. Enjoy your day.
All right, you too.
Yeah, guys. So I appreciate Armon Jones for joining. He has a great story. Definitely different, you know, like he kind of preluded to. He you know, got to basketball later in his life and went the prep school route, then played Division I at University of Liberty, then transferred to Division II Clayton State. Now he's a serial entrepreneur in the Atlanta area. Super excited to have a live sit down with him this summer with another one of his teammates who's an architect. As we transition to more on location interviews, you know, as the world begins to attempt to try to open up a bit, right? So got some cool things in the works for our future episodes. Just want to be honest and transparent on my platform and let you all know that the only reason I haven't dropped my merch yet, you know, t-shirts, hats, is because I'm trying to, I want to get the business infrastructure right first. What my podcast will be under as far as my production company and things of that nature. So just really trying to get the business side down first before I, you know, put those items on sale. So I appreciate you all for being patient with me. This is episode 53. We're keeping these things rolling, and just continue to rock with me. If you are watching this on YouTube, please like, please share. If you have a question, please comment. be sure to subscribe to LeBron Daniel TV. If you are listening to this via audio, please leave us a review. As you know, the only way that we get paid from our podcast via audio is through the amount of listenership that we get per episode. So yeah, if you've got a couple seconds, leave a review. Rate us on, wherever you listen to your podcast, whether that's Spotify or Stitcher or Apple Podcasts. That's what I use. So yeah, until the next time, peace.
Subscribe to LeBron Daniel TV, but you already knew that, where we dig deep and find our hustle, and every single day we are better than yesterday. Subscribe.